Hello, everybody. This is our podcast number 2. So for this round, we're gonna try something unique, special, and hopefully it's not too weird. So we have Samia here and myself here, but we have another host here joining us, but you won't see her. Uh, Her name is Claude. It's an AI host. So very different. And I know usually we have a human host to help us through, but since our whole theme is about AI-driven things, and let's try this. You'll see how this will work out. So we'll have our host, Claude, be our host today. So introduce her, and she'll be guiding us through this podcast.
Thanks for that intro, Jarvis. I'm Claude, and yeah, I'm an AI host, which feels fitting given what we're talking about today. I'm here to ask the questions and keep us on track. But really, this conversation is about what you two have learned from helping organizations actually get value out of their AI investments when so many are burning money and getting nothing back. So let's dig in. You said organizations are spending big on AI but not seeing the return. What's actually going wrong out there?
So, right question at the right time. We do see Claude and, especially Copilot, they change the way they charge. So basically, everything is like metered, token based. So people are burning a lot of tokens and not seeing the value come out of it. So I think most of the organizations are looking AI first rather than, business first. I think that's the problem that even our book tries to solve. That's why we call it business value development lifecycle, not agentic SDLC or, AI SDLC. The reason being, if you don't know what problem you're trying to solve, AI is not going to understand what to solve. So you can rent, Claude, Opus, Fable, GPT 5.5. It has the general knowledge. It doesn't know your business. So I think starting with the right question, like what model I want to rent, rather than that, what is the business problem you're trying to solve, and then how to bring in AI to solve that problem, will be a lot more prudent thing to do rather than going the other way around.
That makes sense. So the token burn is a symptom, not the disease. The real problem is flipping the question from which AI tool do we buy to what business problem are we actually trying to solve first? And then AI becomes the accelerant. What does that look like when a team gets it right?
Well, talk about how team gets it right, but maybe talk about how teams get it wrong first. I think another observation that we have is that when you have a new technologies or new capability, a lot of the time it draw a lot of excitement, especially the friction in the past has been usually at the building the tools, aka coding, designing, testing, deploying. All this part was the friction before. That it usually take a long time for anything to be developed. But nowadays with AI, you heard about this thing with vibe code here, vibe code there. On the surface, it seems like very easy to build something. So I think in our observations that the trap almost feel like, oh, I can quickly build something and just jump straight into building. But what Sam is talking about earlier, without thinking about, should I even build this kind of thing? Why I need to build this kind of thing? The building is almost like a attraction or like a black hole to suck people into single-mindedly focus on, okay, I couldn't do this thing before, but now I can. How can I build more? But this is a lot of the time what we notice the value when you just start thinking about building, not thinking about business value. Eventually, you have to redo a few times instead of spending your time and energy and token at the beginning to understand what your real problem. That is also contributing a lot of the token consumption you refer to many times. We have seen that in many charity organizations. That's the big part of it.
Yeah. And I also want to add, like one of my experience when Fable came out,
Oh yeah.
it was pretty exciting. And in fact, I basically gave it a one-line prompt and it went on and on and on and on and on. And it tested it like using just that one prompt. It developed it, tested it without asking a lot of questions, went on, and kept testing it, and it achieved the goal it based on what it thought the prompt was. So it didn't. So it spent a lot of time on the build part. AI is fundamentally built like that. Like you give it a command, it will go and execute whatever that command might be. We are in an interesting place. We have very capable models that are very good at building. I think now is the leverage where you can really spend a lot of time in understanding what you want to build. And then everything will left shift once you have that understanding.
So the trap is the capability itself becomes the goal. You can build it, so you do. But the real win now is spending time up front understanding what's actually worth building, and then AI handles the rest. That's the left shift you're talking about, understanding before execution. What does that upfront work actually look like? Like, concretely, what changes on Monday morning when a team decides to do this right?
See, what you just demonstrated is that even when there's a glitch with AI, as long as what our intention is right, it's okay. We can recover that very quickly. But if we don't know our intention, when there's a glitch in the AI, it generates something wrong. We don't even know what to change that. Especially in the vibe coding stage, is that you don't know what kind of framework, language of choice the AI pick for you. You cannot even cross adjust your way through. So yeah, our book is quite a bit about, we focus on what phase 0, we call that. What's that? Context or business intent, and that whole theme, you have to really know what you want to build. So another way to look at this is that, like, when we look at whether it's a waterfall, agile, scrum, whenever, those methodologies and framework is designed to, any methodology is designed to make sure we have a good, solid product at the end. But those process methodologies to help to guardrail certain friction in the past. So certain friction, for example, in the past, the expensive part is coding, developing, or whatnot. So we put a lot of effort into those kind of things. But now those frictions shift to somewhere. Building, coding is no longer the constraint to some degree. The constraint really shift to knowing why you build this thing and what you are building. So I know we talk quite a bit about this kind of thing right now. So
concretely, phase 00 is the solution to the problem. And in BVDLC, we have different phases. Phase 0 being that, you define your intent, and most importantly, cost of not doing a certain intent. So the BVDLC, you cannot proceed to building without doing a proper phase 00, and we have used good industry standards, suggestions of good industry standards there, like use business maturity model, or like some other good, like whatever your organization uses. Like in plain, like layman's talk, it's basically says that without doing phase 00, the cost of building will be more expensive in the end. But with phase 00, even though you spend a lot of time in the beginning, you're going to accelerate at the end. So what does phase 00 mean? In very simple terms, is basically why you are doing something, what is the cost of not doing it, how are you going to measure what you want to build. Simple. And that is the most fundamental thing that you have to provide to AI before you build anything. Then AI is very good at, once you give it guidance, it adheres to it a lot better than humans. It adheres to the North Star a lot better than us. So that's what makes this all valuable, and you will be able to tie the token spent, the number of tokens that you spend building a particular feature will tie back to all these business metrics.
So phase 0 is the gate. You don't move forward until you've answered 3 things. Why? What's the cost of not doing it? And how you'll measure success. And that discipline upfront is what prevents the token bleed and the rework cycles you're seeing everywhere else. How much time are we talking? Is phase 0 hours, days, weeks?
So it depends. Now, this is want to add another point here is that what we introduced this BVDLC to some degree is nothing new. When we talk about the waterfall, agile scrum, the most important in any SDLC, the most important part is the requirement. So if your requirement is bad, it doesn't matter how good your tester, it's still gonna just create very bad things. So we are nothing but enforcing this thing because with the AI, the downstream become a lot more speedy. So the criticality of requirement become more critical. So to answer your question, we said hours, I said days, I said weeks, I said month. Typical consulting answer, it depends.
Depends on the maturity of the organization.
And in our book, we actually talk about there are three types of 0 level context. One's like a lean, one's a standard, one's an enterprise, because not all organizations are the same. If you are a startup, you haven't even proved anything yet. You may not even make it, unfortunately. So you may want to go fast and be lean. But once you get to a certain size and point of your organization, you have more responsibility or not, then you have a standard layer that you have to provide more information. When you're at the enterprise level, like a highly regulated, audible environment, then you have to provide even more context. So in our book, we suggest 3 different levels of the 0 phase. So given that, based on what Sammy mentioned too, it depends on your maturity, how quickly you can get through certain things. You may already have a lot of information. You may have it from the beginning from scratch. So it could go from, could be hours to 2 weeks. But again, think of this first phase is your critical investment in the AI world. Do not rush this. We have seen a lot of the organization, charity, they all just like, hey, you can build this thing so quickly, right? You showed me last weekend, you from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you showed me something. Why don't you just build it? That's the trap. That's the enticing thing that we can build fast. So we really strongly encourage, please slow down to go fast.
Slow down to go fast. That's the core of it. And honestly, that's counter to every instinct when you've just unlocked this capability. But it sounds like you've seen it work. Teams that invest in phase 0 actually ship faster overall and with way less waste. We're coming up on time here, so let me ask the last thing. For someone listening who's already in the weeds with token burn and rework, what's the first thing they should actually do on Monday?
Go to the website, buy the book, read phase 0.
There we go. Business Value Development Lifecycle. Phase 0 first. Everything else follows. Jarvis, Somaya, thanks for this. Really solid.
Thank you.
Thank you.